Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the Healing Planet. My name is Melinda, and blessed, happy Easter. Today is April 12th, 2020, and we are going through a coronavirus pandemic, and most of the world is in lockdown mode. And we've been at this for about a month now. So I know it's not easy. We're going through changes day by day, but it is God's plan. Everything is working out for the highest good of all, and we're in this together. So I am recording this as a message of hope from Christ himself. I've been feeling his energy amazingly, and he has been with me, especially at Easter time, for most of my life. So I just put together whatever he inspired me to put together. I hope you will receive it with love that it is intended and given to you. And I hope it gives you some comfort, encouragement, hope, or just a few minutes of peace. Hopefully, you are experiencing peace at all times. That's what it's all about, love and peace, right? So, all right, so these are the messages that I put together. So first of all, today is Easter. So the quote that came to mind from the Bible: "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him shall have everlasting life." And that is in the Bible in John 3:16. And it reminded me of this book by Max Lucado called 3:16, The Numbers of Hope, which I read many, many years ago. So I'm just sharing it with you. If you've never read it and you feel like it, I highly recommend it. When I heard this quote for the first time, I had angel tingles going right through my body. It awoken me to actually feeling the immensity of God's love. And I'm not going to go over, I'm not going to analyze every word. In this book, Max Lucado goes through the full meaning of this verse, which is so beautiful, and it is at the heart of God, heart of ascension, of what's happening in the world right now. We're moving into new earth, the golden age of Aquarius, Christ consciousness. So I think this sums it up, how immensely God loves us all, loves all of his creations, all of his children. And you can also go online. There's lots and lots of information about this and beautiful analysis. Now, the other quote that came to my mind is when Jesus said, "I am the light of the world." And that's in John 8:12. And the other quote is, "I am the way and the truth and the life." And that's in John 14:1-7. "No one comes to the Father except through me." So what does that mean? And that it's not just for Christians, right? So it's for anyone. If Jesus' words resonate with you, if you're drawn to my channel, then Jesus is for all of us. Christ consciousness is for all of us. So what does it mean? These are very important quotes to me. I feel them in my heart. They were very important for me to understand the true meaning of Jesus' teachings and the true nature of God. So, in very simple terms, basically means love God and love your brethren or brothers and sisters as you love yourself. So, what does that mean? God is first. We have to put God first. And God is love, God is life and truth and light, which is what Jesus taught us. So, we have to meditate on that. We have to come to self-realization of what these things actually mean. We have to self-reflect. We have to purify our hearts, minds, of all that is not truth, of all that is darkness, that is not of light, all that is not of life, true life, and that is not the way. So, put God first. So it could mean pray, talk to Him, ask Him for help, or her, whatever your concept of God is. I think of it as Father God, right, and Mother God. So Mother Earth, it's more like the tangible world. Father God is more in spirit, in the heavens. And second is self-love. You have to understand the true meaning of self-love. So through self-love, we heal our wounds. We let go of all the darkness, all the hurt and pain, and embrace our true essence, which is love. We were created in the true image of God, who is love. We are love. So we have to practice. We have to put all of this in practice. We have to walk our talk, or walk our beliefs and understandings. And so after self-love, the practice of self-love, we fill up our hearts with love to overflowing, and then we can extend that to our brothers and sisters in selfless service. And it doesn't mean that we have to sacrifice ourselves. That was the old age of Pisces, right? It's not about self-sacrifice. It's about self-fulfillment now. For all of us, equality, love, and true brother and sisterhood. And basically doing what you love to do and share that with the world. And when you do that in service of God, service of your higher self, and you're in your true essence in self-love, the universe will support you, and you don't have to worry about your finances or all these necessities of life that we need, right? You will be provided for, and more than you would ever imagine for yourself. So that was number one that I wanted to share with you. Now, number two, I don't know, this might not resonate with all of you, but this is what I did. I basically, I rebuked Satan and all its demons in the name of Jesus, and I accepted Jesus into my heart, and I said that. So you might want to say that, and that's it. Just take a deep breath and take it from there, right? So the third part is, before I go there, another book came to me that I read some time ago, and this is called The Imitation of Christ. So this is by Thomas Kempis. Basically, as children of God, just like Jesus is the Son of God, we are in spiritual essence the same way as Jesus, right? Children of God. So we can become holy or healed. And this is part of our ascension journey through imitation of Christ. So if you're drawn to this, I just felt like sharing this book. So it's basically putting into practice Jesus' teachings, right? Walk your talk. And that's very important. Now the third part is that I want to share with you is from the Holy Grail Revealed. And I'm going to read it to you. I recorded this on a previous, and it's 4:44 right now, on a previous video, but I don't know which one. So I decided that I'm going to share it with you again. So for us to be able, like, okay, so you invited Jesus into your heart, and that's the beginning, but we have to be able to receive him, right? You have to be able to receive Jesus into your heart. And if you're always in a giving, doing mode, and you closed off your heart is not open, you cannot receive, right? So that's what this teaching is about. And this is from this book that I mentioned, The Holy Grail Revealed. And the message is from beloved Emmanuel, Jesus the Christ. So I will read you the whole chapter here. And this was a channeled message from Jesus. So these are Jesus' words, and I'm just going to read them to you. Beloved I Am Presence of the Central Sun, I greet you through the hearts of Akasha and Asun's dispensation to the earth, and all incoming souls who have chosen the embodiment, the resurrection, and the ascension upon her ray. I, Emmanuel, greet you, and I thank the messenger for the use of his senses, his voice, and his breath of life, loaned to me for a few moments to greet each of you. As I come to you this day, it is my desire to impress upon you the open door that is before you now, upon which each of you can easily begin to experience and enjoy the fulfillment of my command. Lo, I am always with you. I hope, in my time with you today, to show you how easy it is, especially now, with the great accepting activity of your own royal divinity, and your great accepting activity of your own ascended brothers and sisters in the light and of the angelic host. You are perhaps, for the first time, really ready to embrace what has already been shared with you, yet I hope to share in a way of such Christ illumination and clarity that you truly understand what it means to be held in the love of an ascended being's heart. For when we say we hold you in our heart flame, we embrace you in our love, it is a reality that depends upon your understanding, your acceptance, your willingness, and embrace of what is explained to each of you. Today I decree that you will not leave my presence without fully understanding how to enjoy my luminous presence when you turn your attention to myself or any of your own ascended brothers and sisters. Just call upon us to hold you in the ascended Master's consciousness, in the embrace of our love, in our luminous presence, for the difference this can make will so quicken everything in your life. So, it is all about the ability of each of you to apply what you have discovered, and in applying, understand the power of radiation and the power of absorption. These things that we offer you are much more mechanical than you realize in their application. So, as I begin this sharing, I will use an example that has been presented to you before, and I hope that this time you will fully comprehend it. Now, you know that your lives are given to be an outpouring of your life energy, yet your lives on earth are also given to be open, to be receptive, and to be able to receive. Indeed, in order for you to receive, you must have the capacity to absorb. We are not introducing anything new to you, only to show you how you are using the quality of absorption every single day to keep yourselves comfortable. The example that was given before is that if you are out in the cold and you are uncomfortable, you can walk into a store or return to your home, stand before a radiator, and turn on the heat. Then your physical garment absorbs the radiation of that heat, and it is not long before you are comfortable and warm once again. Now, is this a fact or is it not a fact? Is it a fact? Are you sure? Excellent. Therefore, you know from your own physical experience that if you are uncomfortable due to the temperature, you can do something about it. You can absorb the coolness if it is too hot, or you can absorb the warmth if it is too cold. Now, if your physical garments did not have the ability to absorb, then this could not be the case. It is not only your physical garments, it is your feeling side of life and critical elements of the auric field that allow you to absorb the radiation of heat, cool currents, or whatever it is that you desire. Yes. The mechanics, my dear hearts, are the same when we say to you, we hold you in the love of our heart flame. We offer you the light of our sacred fire. We hold you in the consciousness of our ascension. When we tell you these things, and when we give the command, we project the radiance of our love and the substance of our light. Now mark you, when we say the substance of our light, we are referring to the luminosity that our ascended physical garments are radiating. We are actually sending you the radiation that is the substance of our ascended garments. We are actually sending you the radiation that is the substance that our ascended garments radiate outwards. So I hope that in explaining this to you, you will follow these guidelines and set up that permanent solution that as of today, if you wish to embark upon this, that you can begin to feel so powerfully, so completely, the quality, the power, and the radiation of any ascended master. You can begin to feel all that is the perfection that is in our octave and all that we command if you call upon us to project our love, our luminous presence to you. Now, you know that we can project our luminous presence to each of you, especially to a dedicated space in your home. In addition, today I'm going to ask each of you to dedicate a space 3 feet out from you as the second place that you're calling forth my luminous presence or the luminous presence of any ascended master. So I am asking you to choose 2 places. Wherever you are residing, choose a place and do not change it. In addition, request that 3 feet out from you, directly in front of you, will be that second place that you are requesting the luminous presence of my presence with you. This is the radiation of my heart flame that has the substance of my ascended garment that I radiate to life. It has the consciousness that I have attained, and within that, my luminosity, and include the ascended master commands to life, such as the law of levitation the law of etherealization, and the law of precipitation. Now, I want you to be very clear because it is now time to know these things. My ministry lasted exactly 3 years in my time on earth, and a time now comes whereupon the beginning of my return is marked. Now begins another phase of my ministry in which my command, "Lo, I am always with you," is a command that must be used and greeted by your own command. You can come and command me to project into a chosen sacred area of your home, and also exactly 3 feet out from you, so that when you are traveling, perhaps you can come to me and say, "Well, Emmanuel, I have been away from home for 3 weeks, so I am grateful I could stand in your luminous presence while I was traveling and absorb the radiation that you are offering as easily as I can stand in front of a heat radiator or an air conditioner. I understand that what you are offering is as real, is as tangible, and requires my free will, requires my command, my acceptance, and my willingness to step into that space that I have asked you to project your presence into. I call to you through my own beloved I Am presence, Jesus, Emmanuel, Christ. I call upon you to project permanently and make it last until my ascension is complete, your luminous presence 3 feet out from me. Into this area, 3 feet out from me, beloved Master Jesus, fulfill your command, fulfill your promise. Lo, I am always with you. Project your luminous presence that has within it the radiation of your ascended master body, which means the actual substance that your ascended master garment is radiating. Project the attainment of your own ascension into the light. Project your ascended master consciousness into this space, 3 feet out in front of me, and into a location in my home that I have chosen. As you do this, Master Jesus, I make that promise to do my part, and that is to call upon you to continue concentrating the projection of your luminous presence out in front of me and into my home. In my covenant with you, I make the commitment to step consciously into those 2 spaces that I have chosen. I will step consciously into that space to enjoy the radiation, to absorb the radiation, the luminosity of your presence in the same mechanical way that I can absorb the heat from a radiator or the cool currents from an air conditioner. Do you understand what is being offered to you today? Now, keep the call up, make the decree, do your part, give the command. I, Emmanuel, will fulfill my promise that I will project my luminosity that contains all my ascended master powers, all my ascended master consciousness, and all the luminosity and substance of my own raised physical garment. Now, if you follow through with this, you will find that what I have offered you is so practical. It will only be days before you have the evidence and you have the proof, even if at the beginning the only proof you have is that you feel it has been done. Then, at any moment, whether you are here, whether you are out in the local park and you consciously choose to step into the radiation of my love, you will stop, you will remind yourself that exactly 3 feet ahead of you, I have projected my luminous presence, and that goes with you everywhere you go. So whether you are on a train, a bus, an airplane, although it might be odd if people see you get up and walk 3 paces, but you get the idea. So, beloved, you cannot come back to me and say, "Well, Emmanuel, I was not home, and so I really could not have felt your luminous presence," for it will always be 3 feet ahead of you. Now, I want you to work with these things. So try often to consciously say to yourself, I am stepping into the luminous presence that the ascended Jesus Christ has projected 3 feet out from my physical garment. 1, 2, 3. I now stand in the luminous presence of the ascended Jesus Christ, and just as I am standing before a radiator or an air conditioner to receive warmth or coolness, I am absorbing. I am absorbing. I am absorbing. Now, rather than using the position of your arms and hands as you see in the chart of the violet flame, hold your hands open and receptive and slightly up. You have the proof, my beloved hearts, that you are capable of absorbing, whether it is the radiation of a cool current, the radiation of warmth, or whether it is the radiation of Mother Akasha. Even if it is the radiation of your own guardian angel or the radiation of an ascended being that you have called upon, it makes no difference. You must use your free will. You must give the command. You must accept that it has been done because, my dear heart, energy only becomes power through use. Now, it is the mighty Saint Germain who reminded humankind of this great truth. Energy only becomes power through use. So you have got to use this. You have got to use your attention. Place your attention upon these things, and I assure you, under the great cosmic law that has granted me supreme permission, I will over-amplify my luminous presence for a certain period of time. This means that even if an individual of great density happens to walk through an area of your home or in front of you where you have charged my luminous presence, at the very least, they will experience what you call goosebumps, as if something has thrilled them for a moment. Now, if you understand this gift, then you are telling me that you understand that you have a part to play in this, that you understand I gave my command. Lo, I am always with you. I knew how I would accomplish this, and I knew that those who loved me, those who accepted my great reality, would eventually find a way. Now you have found the way, yet you have not fully put it into the kind of application that gives you results that are exact. Now, I have an idea of what you all require in your daily lives. When I was upon the earth with the great divine plan of my life, I did not have to consider that which was food and shelter, bank payments, and the kind of things that each of you face in the outer world. The world has changed. Yet we had currency in those days, and even none of these things did I ever have to consider. Once my ministry had begun, never ever did a currency of money ever pass through my hands. These things were all taken care of. Many of these things were taken care of by my teacher, the Lord Maitreya. He would project his luminous presence around me and ahead of me and into that sacred place that I would turn to when I required nourishment, counsel, and guidance. It was there in that luminous presence that Maitreya had projected that he had commanded my Ascended Master supply, my Ascended Master protection, my Ascended Master healing. He commanded all that I required in these matters. So when I stood in the luminous presence that Maitreya, my teacher, projected for me, I absorbed those qualities, and as I absorbed them, all of those things were magnetized to me, and I never had to be of any concern for my requirements. So you know, dear hearts, if you give me a chance to prove that the ways of the universe are not complicated, for they are more mechanical than you might yet appreciate. If you will just try this, you will see for yourself. If you sense that any aspect of doubt yet remains within yourself of all that waits for you in your life, then if you will consciously remind yourself, doubt is a manifestation of fear, and fear is my enemy. I will consciously set aside doubt. Let us take a deep breath. Now, I can assure each of you that what I offer you is instantaneous. Now, you may have a field of density that for the most part has been undone, yet if there remains the slightest veil, then that slightest veil is a ripple of separation. Therefore, it really depends upon you in your ability to say to yourself before you do these things, I accept the reality of these great gifts. I accept that an angelic, an ascended master's presence, and even the I am presence of my own divinity can be projected into a locality whose radiation I can then absorb. The only thing to keep in mind here is that if there is anything of duality that is yet operating in your life, anything that is not projected from your presence, you have the free will to requalify. Do you understand? You cannot requalify the attainment of an ascended being, however. Let me explain. Now, you can choose, if you will, to do something destructive, but that is not going to requalify or undo what I have sent you. All it is going to do is move it aside because you are choosing to use your free will for something destructive. Now, I am certain that you would not consciously do that. I simply wish you to understand that you can set aside for a time what is given you from an ascended being. You cannot ever requalify it. You cannot change the perfection that we offer you into imperfection. All you can do is set it aside for a time so that you are not enjoying it. Yes. So let us be very clear here. We are talking about you having the greatest assistance you have ever experienced. We are speaking about your ability to use energy. Remember, energy only becomes power through use. We are showing you how you can use these things. When you hear the lovely expressions, the lovely sayings, the lovely greetings and salutations that we in the ascended realms greet each of you with, we often enfold you in our love, but you do not often really think about that as something we are actually projecting to you. Now, this might stun you, and maybe a good stunning is what you need. And I say to you that on the weekly transmissions of Akasha and Asen's love for all of you, only 9% of the radiation that they could offer in the Wednesday transmissions is getting through. At this time in the Freedom class, 27% of the radiation that could be given to each of you is getting through, and 17% in the workshops, 38% in the conclaves, and 52% in the miracle class. Now, what does this mean? It means that you are not remembering that when an ascended being offers their words or their discourse, they are projecting their love to you. That love is real. It is as real as the warmth that comes through the radiators. It means that you're not consciously remembering that Akasha's and Asen's love comes as a projection of our ascended master presence. Now, because you're not remembering that, because you are not welcoming that, only a small portion of the radiation that is behind our words is getting through. Now, I have a feeling that some of you who are the pillars, in other words, you're ensuring that there is an earthly gathering and all that is required for Akasha and Asen to come to you with such ascended master presence. I have a feeling you are going to do something about this now. Yes. So let us review. Your earthly selves are charged with the power of absorption. It is through your pores. It is through the water element of your physical garment, which you have discovered a lot more recently. And it is through the feeling side and through the auric field that this absorption takes place. The auric field is a projection of energy contributed by both the mental and feeling side of life. It is through these three areas that your earthly selves absorb. You can take it a step further. You can go into your memory and remember times and moments where you might have been around someone or someone walked into the room and you had an uneasy feeling. That person did not feel good to you. Well, you could not tune into that if your feelings were not absorbing and reporting to your senses that there is something not quite right about the energy of this person. So, you have lots of proof that you, as human beings, in this understanding of your individualization of self, that you are absorbing. Your higher mental body that you have come to embody absorbs the electronic presence of your beloved I Am. Your beloved I Am presence absorbs the electronic and magnetic presence of the central sun. And so life continues so that each of you can then go forth and radiate out. Now, the divine plan states very clearly that upon my arrival on the earth some 2,000 years ago, that this would be the beginning of Christ consciousness in man. However, the rejection of Christ consciousness was so horrific that the evil of man's consciousness expressed its hatred against the Christ, as was exhibited in the life that I dedicated to your planet. So there are demonstrations of these great truths everywhere if you only care to be sane enough, to be awake enough to look at these things and see that they are reasonable. Particularly in these great days ahead of you, you desire to be very conscious of what you are absorbing as well as conscious of what you are giving off. Every individualization of self is incorporated into beingness under the law of giving and receiving, pouring forth and absorbing in. These are natural qualities of your life. Human beings' lives have been wrecked because they have not understood how they have made themselves open, and through wrong use of sympathy, people have opened and absorbed the nonsense of other people's lives, where that has then acted out in their own life. So, dear hearts, I encourage you to remember the law of giving and receiving is the law of pouring and absorbing. Be conscious of this. Now, make your feeling body and your mind cooperate with you. Let this not be so high-minded that it is yet a stretch for your consciousness to accept. Bring it down to simplicity. Bring it down to the mechanics in much the same way that you can absorb warmth or cool currents to make yourself comfortable. Now, each of you can absorb the quality of an ascended being or angelic being if you have asked, if you have commanded that ascended being to project before you and into your home that ascended master's luminous presence. Now, this is a term that has been presented, and I encourage each of you to take this up. This mighty term, luminous presence. I ask you to ask yourself, what is involved in the luminous presence of an ascended master who I have called upon? What does this mean to me? What is the luminous presence of an angel or of an ascended being? Well, it is everything. It is our heart flame and our light that we radiate to the world. It is the record of our attainment into the ascension and all the qualities that we as ascended beings specialize in. It is the substance, the luminosity of our ascended master bodies that we are living in the ascended realms of light. If you think that the ascended Jesus Christ does not have a physical body, If you think I am a spirit that is floating around somewhere, you need your head examined because I assure you that my physical garment is more real than yours, because mine I have made immortal. My immortal physical garment that is made up of substance, just like your physical garments are made up of substance, contains the luminosity of my own Christ being. So, when you call upon me to project the luminous presence of my ascended Master love, my ascended Master consciousness, 3 feet out from you and into your home, all that I am as the ascended Jesus Christ is included in that luminosity. Now, all that I do, and it is, I assure you, easier than walking through walls, all that I do is project in my consciousness a divine replication of myself. I project it exactly where you call it. If you are one of those who try things for a little while and then say to yourself, well, that did not work, and then give up, your higher mental body will see to it that the projection, the replica of my being, is withdrawn and returned to me. I will then send it to someone who loves me a little more and who will use it. If you love me, and I know that sounds harsh, but when you see the history of humankind's depravity as I have seen it, then you would want to use what I am offering each of you. I have been very occupied working alongside the mighty Victory, beloved Saint Germain, the goddess of liberty, and Sanat Kumara in all these years. During 1963, we were all getting ready to enter into new activities for the divine plan, and then we discovered that everything was set aside. We discovered that the Christian dispensation would remain another 40 years, and that it would not be until 2003 that we would then step into the next activity that opens the way for the coming of Christ. Well, since that time, many of us who have been on the earth those 2,000 years ago, we have now finally stepped into those activities that are the fulfillment of my father's ministry, my mother's ministry, my flame's ministry, and those disciples who have ascended. This also includes those disciples who have not ascended, who have continued in embodiment because of acts of service that fulfill my ministry in these present times. We are in the hour of resurrection, dear hearts, and I have waited more than 2,000 years for this, which now becomes a reality. So try to understand this. There are many who love me, yet they love me under the banner of fearing God and the various religions of the Christian faith. Because they love me under the banner of fearing God, this has always limited the amount of intervention and protection they can experience. You know, dear hearts, it has been some 80 years since my earthly father appeared on the earth. Joseph appeared again on the earth as Saint Germain and began reintroducing the I Am presence to the consciousness of humankind. In those 80-some years, you will not find a record, an etheric record of a busload of I Am students who have some horrific accident and lose their lives. You will find the examples that I can give you by the thousands in which wonderful Christian people who under some Christian faith have loved me, yet for some reason, some terrible accident has come to them. The evidence is there. It matters not only how much you love, but must awaken too. You must understand that if you mix your consciousness, if you sit on the fence of light and darkness by being convinced to fear things, then it is those who teach you to fear God we hold responsible. It is this energy that keeps us from not only loving you, but also protecting you. There is enough evidence of people in the Christian faith who have not received enough of the protection from the ascended masters because they are taught to fear God rather than just love God. If this is part of the consciousness, then so much protection that the ascended masters and the angels can offer you just cannot come into place. Now, you are being offered something for your future. You are being offered something that could take care of every area of your lives, into your home, into 3 feet out from you. Now, if it is not me that you want to work with, that is fine. You cannot hurt the feelings of the ascended Jesus Christ. If you wish to work with Saint Germain or Akasha or Asen, or if you wish to work with a group of us, we all cooperate with each other up here a lot better than you cooperate with each other down there. So we do not mind if you mix it up a little bit. We do not mind if you call upon Akasha's luminous presence and my luminous presence, or Archangel Michael's luminous presence. If you wish to mix it up, that is fine. Yet there is something else. I do feel that because we are entering into another divine activity, that I would like to remind you, dear hearts, because I know Akasha has been emphasizing it, these are the most important years of the record of human life on the earth. These years around 2012 and beyond will see the collapse of the current civilization and the rebirth of the most magnificent civilization upon the earth. Because of this, I too am part of this divine plan. Now, I'm going to say something that very few people on earth may yet be willing to hear, especially if you are a Christian who loves me, yet your Christianity is shadowed by the willingness to fear. As important was my presence on the earth some 2,000 years ago, and as important of those 33 years that I was with you, of the last 3 years that led to my ascension, these next years are as important. This begins a cycle that takes you before the auspicious moments of May 26, 2012, and beyond, in which you are encouraged to let me fulfill the command I gave when I left you. Lo, I am always with you. Let me make this command so real, so tangible, because it has everything within it that you could ever require or desire. When it comes to expressing the I am presence and all the perfection that is in our Ascended Master octaves, the time has come and we will give you all the assistance. This is not because I am selfish. It is not because I need your attention. It is because it is my time. My service is called into action again. It is part of the divine plan. Now, the idea here is that a few times a day, you will consciously step into those chosen spaces that you have called my luminous presence into, so that you can bask in the radiation of my love for you. This is so you can absorb that radiation into your feeling, into your aura, and into your physical garment, where you may make real inside you and in your life all the qualities of my own attainment. Now, I assure you that my luminous presence is charged with Ascended Master Light, Ascended Master Love, Ascended Master Protection, and Ascended Master Insulation. Now, I am probably a lot busier than you are, not only because of my service to the earth. Also, I must commune with the other planets of your system. If you think a planet can do what it wants without the cooperation of other planets, think again. So, there is a constant movement of ascended master beings from Jupiter, Saturn, Venus, and Earth. There is such a constant movement of angelic and ascended beings. Now, what do you think we charge ourselves and our environment with to do this? We can move safely through space And if we must quickly move somewhere and we do not choose to use some of our wonderful aerial transportation, then we simply insulate ourselves. So what we have charged into our being and our environment is Ascended Master insulation. So that is what you're going to get as well. You're going to get Ascended Master insulation. Now, of course, you can imagine no ascended being ever loses control of their faculties. So you can imagine that my luminosity carries Ascended Master control and management of the mental and feeling side of life to the supreme excellence of Ascended Master efficiency. You can imagine that no Ascended Master ever has a shortfall of supply when we draw from the universal every day so that we can give. So you know that my Ascended Master consciousness, my luminous presence, has my Ascended Master supply charged right into it. So you see, there's just everything. My Ascended Master healing power, my Ascended Master consciousness, my Ascended Master illumination, and enlightenment. It has my Ascended Master control of the senses, the faculties, the Ascended Master protection and insulation, and my Ascended Master use of the laws of life. I use etherealization, which means that I, from time to time, do not use what has been created. I draw from the universal storehouse of God's great supply, which is the infinite source of supply. I can draw from the universal life force. I can precipitate the golden liquid light to nurture my Ascended Master body. I can precipitate from the universal ether a small biscuit that gives my ascended garment all the nutrients it requires, and I can, if I am the chosen guest of an Ascended Master Gala, I can precipitate before thousands of guests directly from the universal a 14-course meal. You have not eaten, my dear hearts, until you are an ascended being, and your ability to process food that is made from the universal is instant. You can keep eating and eating and eating and eating. As long as the joy of good company and the joy of song and voice and dance and communion, as long as that is there, we share food. In addition to this, I assure you that our digestive processes are much kinder and more instant than yours. Now, speaking of instant, this is another activity of an Ascended Master, instantaneous manifestation and instantaneous healing. Now, with all of these great powers and all that Akasha is teaching you regarding the oracles of love, well, I am truly pleased to see your growing acceptance and use of these great gifts. In particular, I see your growing acceptance of the 9 pillars and of the diamond heart, that mighty gift from the Lord Maitreya. Due to your willingness to use this gift, Maitreya is working much closer now with Akasha. You see, he worked closely with Saint Germain to determine what of the lost knowledge could be given and what must continue to wait. To see Maitreya working with the student body of all of you and to see where the teachings can be quickened is just a marvel in itself. He was my great teacher, and although I thought he was overzealous in his teaching and his demands on me, yet I understood later in life that if he had not been so strict and had not taken the time to build the kind of character that I would require, things may have been different. So you see, I could not come into your octave with all my attainment because I could not, I hope you realize, bring my powers from my galaxy with me. I had to strip myself clean and leave a garment in a crystalline container which remains there. All that I could come with was the knowingness of the I am that in my galaxy I have assimilated through the known universe. Therefore, I could come onto the earth and be born with what you might conceive in your mind a consciousness split in half human and half divine, held in the love of Mary's presence and then under the mentoring and protection of my Father. This could be escorted into the womb of Mother Himalaya. The great teachers would then raise that half of my consciousness that remembered the I am presence, so that I could then go forth and demonstrate that to all of you. So I encourage you, dear hearts, to realize you are entering a time in which you are expected to call upon me. You are expected to take up this call and call upon me to anchor my luminous presence into your home, to anchor my luminous presence out in front of you, and remind yourself of everything that my luminous presence contains. Remember all the Ascended Master qualities: Ascended Master victory, purity, and liberty. Because of who I am and where I come from, I contain all the qualities of the Elohim, the archangels, the sacred fire, and the goddesses. This is what is in my luminous presence, and all the laws of life that I have ever commanded, the record of my ascension, the record of my return to the great central sun to speak on behalf of humanity. All of this is included. So, and that's just a sigh for me. Okay, so invite the luminous presence of Emmanuel Jesus the Christ to be so anchored 3 feet out from you and to be anchored somewhere in your home, so that whenever you choose, you can consciously step into those 2 places to bask, enjoy, and absorb the radiation of my Ascended Master love, of my Ascended Master luminosity. Yes. Now, here I really urge you, really do this. Say to yourself to keep the call up for some time. Keep calling my luminous presence to be anchored there, and then start saying to yourself, I have a few minutes here, and I'm going to step into the luminous presence of the Ascended Jesus Christ that He has projected out in front of me or into my room. Consciously see yourself stepping into that space with your arms and your hands slightly open, and say to yourself, I bask in the radiance of the Ascended Jesus Christ's luminous presence, all His power, all His commands, and all His attainment. I am absorbing in the same way that my earthly self absorbs heat or cool currents. In the same way, I am absorbing His Ascended Master qualities and powers, the sunshine of the Christ, into my earthly self. Here I am. Thank you, Emmanuel. Let me feel. I command my feelings open and feel His love. I command the nerves of my physical garment open and feel His Ascended Master love, His great luminosity, His presence. Then just stand there. Stand there for 3 to 5 minutes. If you're cold and you come in from the cold and you stand in front of the heater, it only takes you 3 to 5 minutes to absorb the heat and get comfortable again. Yes? Now, I wish to tie these pieces together. Therefore, for the first 3 months, come as often as you will, yet do not stand in that sacred space more than 3 to 5 minutes. Get yourself trained in your consciousness, because this is about you, not me. I will do it. I will send it. It will be real. It is you that must use this gift if you wish my direct assistance. Now, you know you have a phrase in your language. Sometimes you have to get used to something. You have to get used to the feeling, yes? Well, in the same way, I want you to get used to the feeling of my love, my luminous presence. You have got to get familiar with that feeling, for as you do, your own feeling nature will open and it will desire more. So let us not drench ourselves to the point where you know you are standing in my luminous presence where the tears are flowing and you fall to your knees and now you are not useful to yourself or anyone. So bask in the love that I will send to you. Absorb that love 3 to 5 minutes. Now you know, dear hearts, you have been challenged with monkey mind. So only in the beginning, maybe the first 5-6 times that you consciously step into what you have been calling forth, do I want you to say to yourself, now I command my feelings in the same way I would open to absorb the heat if I was out in the cold. I am opening and I am absorbing the luminous presence of the ascended Jesus Christ love that I have called to assist me. If I do not feel anything at first, it does not mean it is not working. It does not mean that at all. It just means that my ability to feel is slow at the beginning. It just means that whatever density is there, it just takes a while to let this luminosity in. And so what I'm going to depend upon is my will. If there is any density here that his radiation has to pass through, then it is my will that I need. So I compel my earthly self. I command you to feel his love, to feel his luminous presence. It is not going to take long, in which I dare say it will be one of the most favorable few moments of your day. Again, do not stay in that place more than 3 to 5 minutes. Yet, just my daughter came in. Okay, I will continue. Okay, so again, do not stay in that place more than 3 to 5 minutes. Yet come back to that place as often as you would like in a day. You will then start absorbing my luminous presence. You will absorb my qualities into your being. You will start getting used to my feelings, my luminosity, my presence, my powers, because you have got to get comfortable with them. You know, sometimes when you buy a new suit or a new dress and put it on the first time, you have got to get comfortable with it, yes? Well, in the same way, you have got to get used to this energy, this frequency, this love, and this presence. The more you will do it, the more you will begin to feel what is making you so happy and so comfortable. You will find that which you have struggled with just disappears because you are absorbing my vibration, and my vibration does not experience struggle, lack, or disease. Due to my work on earth, my vibration detests disease. Now, I am on record where my life stream is reported to have healed the sickened and restored life to the body. So you see, my vibration loves life, and my vibration silences disease or anything that threatens life. So all you have to do is take 7 days, as many times as you can. Stop what you are doing, pour your love to your presence, then through your presence communicate with me. Place your attention upon my presence and declare your own resurrection and the higher purpose of the divine plan of your life that you have come to live. Call upon me to project and anchor my luminous presence of my Ascended Master Heart Flame, my Ascended Master Love, and my Ascended Master Consciousness 3 feet out from you and to a designated area of your home. This is so that you may come often and step into those 2 chosen places and consciously acknowledge my luminous presence, the radiation of my love, and bask and soak in it. You may want to tell yourself, I am now basking, I am soaking in, I am absorbing the radiation and the luminosity of the ascended Jesus Christ. It is as real as if he were here himself, because it is an exact divine replica of his own presence that he has sent upon my call. He has given the command to make it so, and he desires I do my part and give the command for his luminous presence, thus fulfilling his call. Dear hearts, it is the most thrilling experience when your own great God divinity takes hold of your vocal cords and you observe a presence, a power that is speaking through you. When the I Am presence took hold of my vocal cords and spoke through me, when I was being questioned by the Sanhedrin, you can be certain that I was thinking inside my mind, I am in big trouble. When the I Am presence, when the God of my life was speaking through my vocal cords, and I had no control, the Heavenly Father was speaking, and it was quite something. Now, I use that term because the folks at that time had no knowledge of the I Am presence, no knowledge that God was I Am. It was all lost. People had no idea. All the children of earth were divine replications of the I Am presence. So I refer to that great presence as the Heavenly Father. And when I said, I am He that you suggest that I claim to be, when I said, I am the light of the world and I am the light that cometh into the world, I tell you, dear hearts, I heard those words speak through me, and I remember, as though it was only a moment ago, saying to myself, I am in big trouble. I knew it was only days until the divine plan had to be fulfilled, and I knew my role. I knew what was coming, and even though I had come from a galaxy far, far away, there was no part of my existence that was looking forward to what was coming. Many times during those last 9 days before Gethsemane, I was very conscious of what was going to happen. Of course, at that time, my feeling side of life under Sanat Kumara's command, the Queen of Light's assistance, and the Lord Maitreya's assistance, my feeling body was already absorbing. Here we go back to that absorbing factor. It was already absorbing the crimes of humanity. It was already known that my physical garment would be crucified. It was already known that the great seraphim and the angels of the cosmic Christ blue lightning fire would be there, and that I would take a third of humankind's discord to the cross, and what had to be faced. Those were quite the days. One day I hope you will all, sooner rather than later, have an opportunity to look into the all-seeing eye of God and see the last 9 days that preceded my being seized in the Garden of Gethsemane. You will see that as you look into my eyes that I used at that time, you will see why even my own beloved Mother Mary could not look at me any longer. Because my eyes were witness to the terror that my feeling body was absorbing. I was absorbing some of the discord from the earth's gas belts, some from the earth's atmosphere, and some from humankind's feeling body that were on the earth at that time. I was absorbing the discord, evil, and fear to give humankind at that time an opportunity to succeed. Of course, you know it is said the eyes are the windows of the soul. Well, that is not quite true until the door to the soul is open. However, in that time, the eyes were the door to the feeling side of life, and it is for this reason, in those last few days, the terror that was in my eyes was reflecting what was in the feeling side of life. In any few moments of reprieve that I had, retiring to the sacred circle of the 12 palm trees was when I enjoyed my warmest and most precious moments. Well, do you have a better feeling of what it means to you when we leave you and we say, We enfold you in the love of our heart flame, or we enfold you in our luminous presence, or we hold you in our ascended master consciousness. Do you realize that when we say this, we are seeking to project this activity to you, and that this becomes a radiation of our beingness? Ultimately, dear hearts, it is so that our powers can become your powers, our consciousness can become your consciousness. Our laws that we have commanded become your laws to quickly set aside the tree of knowledge effects that have been upon your life. It is to bring forth such a quickening, such a correction of all the activities, the protection you require, the supply that you require, especially as things change in the world. Well, you will have no need for anything, dear heart, if you have my Ascended Master supply, which is in my luminous presence. Also, many of you will be moving around parts of the planet for very important activities that you are involved in, and you will require my Ascended Master installation for this. This too is in my luminous presence. I assure you, I can keep an aircraft in the air even if it has lost its engines, and if you have my Ascended Master installation, well, it has everything. All you have to do is consciously step into it. Now, here's an important last message. It is a message to self. This is going to change everything, and it is going to change everything quickly. Consider all the areas of change that you are signing up for, and then let it be. So, I hope that I have made a difference today in explaining what it means to you when we greet you with these great blessings. Yet, I wanted you to know that you are not yet fully enjoying these blessings, and I hope that from today's explanation you can work more consciously with these great realities. I am the light of the world is the truth of the I am presence. It is the same message, whether that message came through my heart flame or another. The message of the I am presence is the same because there is only one great I am that each of us are uniquely. Therefore, I say to you, as in the Ancient of Days, Adonai, Adonai, Adonai. We love and bless you, Master Emmanuel, beloved Asen. We thank you. We thank our own mighty I Am Presence for opening the way for Akasha's dispensation to host the presence of Jesus with us today. We are truly grateful. From out of our hearts, we offer a wave of love up to our presence, to Akasha and Asen, and to the ascended Jesus Christ, Emmanuel. From out of our hearts, we offer a wave of love and respect to each other. So this was, I just read from, chapter 1 from the Holy Grail Revealed. I am that I am, Emmanuel Meditation. So now, here's in summary, receiving the key gifts from beloved Emmanuel. Beloved I am, I turn to you and I pour my love. Pause, visualize, and feel. Beloved Emmanuel, with a heart of love, I call upon you to project your luminous presence 3 feet out from me. Make it eternal and permanent until my own ascension is complete. Into this area, 3 feet out from me, beloved Master Jesus, project your luminous presence that has within it the radiation of your ascended Master body, which means the actual substance that your Ascended Master garment is radiating. Project your Ascended Master consciousness into this space 3 feet out in front of me and into the following location in my home. And here name your preferred location. Now call when you are in the sacred space. Beloved I am, I command my feelings to open fully as I love to bask in the radiance of the ascended Jesus Christ luminous presence, all his power, all his commands, and all his attainment. Here I am. Let me feel his love as I command the nerves of my physical garment to open, absorb, and bask in his presence. Beloved Emmanuel, I accept, I acknowledge, and I invite this great gift into my home and into the space 3 feet out in front of me. Let me remind myself that I can always absorb and bask in the radiation of your luminous presence, even when I am away from home. Finally, I acknowledge and accept the great truth that energy only becomes power through use, and so I endeavor to build a momentum with this great activity. I thank you for this magnificent gift, Emmanuel. I am so blessed and so grateful, so blessed and so grateful, so blessed and so grateful. Almighty I am, Almighty I am, Almighty I am. All right, so thank you, Jesus. That was really long. I am tired, but I felt it was important to share it with you. So, practice, right? It takes practice. So, I'm just sharing. If you are so called, you can do this starting today, right? It's part of walking your talk, right? Being who you truly are, right? Becoming self-realized. And that's when your journey truly begins. And so we are on New Earth now, so welcome to New Earth. Victory of the light and love. So that was my message for today that I wanted to share with you through Jesus. Let me put that aside. Now I'm going to pull a few cards. So this one is from the Loving Words of Jesus deck. Your Divine Team of Light. Please connect with me now. What message would you like to share with us, dear Jesus? For everyone who's watching this video, which is recorded today on Easter Sunday, April 12th, 2020. So, dear Jesus, what message would you like to share with us today? It takes a while sometimes. Okay. Your Heavenly Father knoweth that you have need of all these things. Matthew 6:32. So yeah, remember, ask and you shall be given. But you will not be given what your ego wants, but what you really, really need. So be patient. At the bottom of the deck, we have, He that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And that's John 14:12. Okay, so that was, now I'm going to share, I'm going to pull a card from the Archangel Raphael Healing deck. Archangel Raphael, what do we need to focus on at this time in our healing journey into wholeness, divinely perfect health, and well-being? Meditation. Yes. If you have the time, you can go within. The bottom, it says, Dear Archangel Raphael, please meditate with me and guide my mind and body to focus upon peace, health, and wellness. It looks like Mother Mary is above this meditator, or maybe Mary Magdalene. I think it's Mother Mary. Mary Magdalene, they're together. Okay. At the bottom of the deck, we have relationship. Dear Archangel Raphael, thank you for healing and guiding all of my relationships upon the path of love. So that's really beautiful. So yeah, ask for Archangel Raphael's help. Invoke his emerald green healing light into your relationships and focus upon meditation. I'm not going to read the messages because the video is already very long. Now I'm going to pull a card from the Power of Surrender card deck. What do we need to surrender? Dear God, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, right? It's just easier. Let's just get into the flow. Okay, so this one we got surrender your need to always be right. So this seems to be like another relationship focused message. Give others the gift of letting them be right. Be yielding, not rigid. This will help resolve conflicts and improve your relationships. Yeah, it's not about being right? It's about listening to each other, accepting, feeling compassion, extending that compassion and understanding to another. Second card we got is surrender to setting limits. It is healthy to set boundaries in relationships. Practice expressing your needs and remember that no is a complete sentence. So yeah, we are open to others, but not to our own detriment, right? So you can say no to relationships and energies of people who are not of love. And that's setting boundaries, that's practicing self-love. And at the bottom of the deck, we have surrender to wonder and awe. Open to the magic of every moment and sense the awe and wonder in all of life. This attitude will keep you connected to the ecstasy of flow. Yes, be in the moment. Feel the love. Connect to Jesus. Connect to your I am presence. Connect to the love of God. God loves you unconditionally. You are worthy of love. Feel the love of Mother Earth, Mother Gaia. And just be, because you are love. Be who you truly are. Be love. All right, now I'm going to read from the Power of Love card deck. Not read, I'm going to pull a card. What do we need to focus on today? Again, I think I pulled this before. Cooperation. Yeah, lots of relationship messages today, right? Yeah. We're cooped up sometimes. Well, right now, it might feel like we're cooped up, right? Sometimes, especially if we can't go out at all. I can go out, a little bit every day, still here. I'm grateful for it, as long as I stay away from people. So, cooperation. In your quest to manifest the energy of love, you realize that every person and experience has value, right? So, we need to work together to let love prevail. The bottom, individuality. Wow, interesting. So, we can preserve our own individuality, and yet we can cooperate. So, what does this say? You leave your unique stamp of love on everything you do. Right. So, as long as we heal our shadow selves, or we merge, or whatever, we can become our true selves, and then through meditation, right, by connecting to our I am presence, we can radiate that love out, right? And when we do that, then we can cooperate with others. And if we were all to do that, right, that's how we create heaven on earth, right? We'll create a better world for all of us. Last but not least, I'm going to pull a card from the Quantum Oracle card deck. So what is happening in the quantum? Whoa. Okay. I'm going to take it. Oops. Now I turned it upside down. Okay. The energy of fear. So yeah, we need to let this go. We're transmuting it. I know I am. So you can transmute fear in the violet flame. Saint Germain's violet flame or violet fire. So you can visualize. I have been visualizing planet Earth in the golden, or not golden, sorry, the violet flame of protection, of transmutation. So to transmute fear and all negative energies, you can do this for yourself as well. There's lots of information on the internet on this, especially with Elizabeth Clare Prophet, Violet Flame Decrees. So you can work with this for your own transmutation, transmuting your own fear. You can use amethyst, purple candles, things like that. So don't give in to fear, release it. All is well. But yeah, there is a lot of that energy in the world right now. At the bottom of the deck, we have the loving man. That's lovely. So the divine masculines are ascending, coming into their own, or our own divine masculine within us all. It's becoming the loving man. Love it. He's holding roses, smiling, golden light across the land. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish you a blessed Easter, and all is in God's plan. Everything is well. Everything shall be well. So, but we need to cooperate. Go within, meditate, pray, transmute the fear. Do something that your future self will thank you for, right? Every day, step by step, we are creating heaven on earth and Christ consciousness, which is unconditional love through love of God, love of self, and extending it to each other, all of us, brothers and sisters of the light. I love you all. Have a blessed Sunday, and I will see you soon. Namaste.